Hi, welcome to Barvotti's 50-second live screening of tools for creatives. I am Phoebe Bradbury, and today I will be demonstrating some of the tools I use every day in my art studio. I wouldn't want to be without them, and I find new uses for them all the time. There will be promotional offers during the program, and the promo codes will be active during the demonstration and for about half an hour after. The current time is 12 noon Central, February the 23rd, 2022. Right now, the promotions are only available on amzn.to. Okay, I'm back and here we go. Let's just get this set up here. And we'll just do a little bit of playing like the intro. I haven't seen that one in quite a while. I hope I got it in the right spot because I'm supposed to get it all in the film, and it looks like I'm just about, not quite perfect. So here. So that's a little bit of paint just to get us going. And I'm going to be using our tools, the modelers that we just saw. Oh, these two are, these are the ones I work with. And I will show you the nice, clean new ones later, but let's just get going. So I got to think about what I'm going to do. Let's see, I've got to get it more down here. Okay. Okay, let's move down there. So I'm using the same colors mostly because I haven't used them for a long time, and just watching that intro inspired me. So I'm going to go out a little bit, and I'm getting much better at handling my film. So these two colors I put in here are, one is a blue-green, and it's an artist, a professional artist grade, and this is a phthalo blue. And I just mixed the two so it'll be a little bit more interesting. And what I'm doing here is just showing you some of the kind of marks you can make with this, and how much fun it can be just to play, and maybe you can meditate as you're playing or have great music on as you're playing. We often don't set ours to music till after we've done them because we don't have music in the background, and we are working on that. So what's happening here? When you see these, I'm teaching and painting at the same time, so I don't know whether that's going to work. But the mass tone of the paint is the dark part, and then you can see all the beautiful colors underneath if you happen to have mixed. And here you can see a little bit of the blue-green, a little bit of the phthalo blue, and those two, of course, go really nicely together. And this is a 2.5-inch modeler, and as you can see, I can spread with it. And then, oops, if I want to clean it off, I used to use a damp cloth, and I've gotten used to doing that because it seems to be the most efficient way to do it when I'm demonstrating and to keep my tools clean. So I'm actually going to put that one aside. And I'm going to use one that I have, I wonder what I did with it. Oh, I have them ready for, I put them over here. Sorry. Here we go. So there's one tool. This is a 1-inch modeler. And you can see I have at one point decided I needed some parallel lines, so I carved out some holes in the end, and that gives me 3 parallel lines. And you'll notice they're not exactly even, and that's basically my preference when I paint. It's not everybody's preference, so it's entirely up to you how you make those. But that just turns a 1-inch tool that looks rather boring into something exciting that can do all kinds of exciting things. Now I don't know, oh yeah, I love the swirls. And so it can become just like a big bowl of spaghetti. And in the spaghetti, if you want to, you can take one of our other tools. Here I'm using the 1 inch, the 1 centimeter or 10 millimeter shaper tool. These are modelers, these are shapers. And with the shaper tool, I can write a message in here. And usually the only message I can think of is I love you, but let's see, what can I think of? I don't think I can think of anything else right now. So this is called a secret message painting, and you can then actually you can't really see it that well. That's not bad for a secret message painting. So something like that is kind of fun to make as a gift or just fool around with. And I have done other ones like that. I'm not going to bother you with showing them. So I'm going to go work on to something a little bit different. Once again, wiping off the tools with just a damp cloth. And I don't have them sitting in water or anything like that, because that just creates, for me, something that can spill over when I'm working, and I don't want to do that. So let's go here. Let's try something else with it. Let's do some, and so this one, is this another 2.5? No, this one is a 2 inch. I'm trying to use the different ones. And this one is a 2 inch modeler. And I'm going different levels to give you an idea of just with pressing at different depths, I can get very interesting designs. And what I want to say about these is that if you look at the modeler end, this is the action end, and in this case it's 2 inches long. It's a very sharp little blade. So that means you can make quite incisive marks. And you might think, oh, well, squares, who cares? But that's just the beginning of what it can make. And they all can do all of these things in many different ways. And so we're just going to keep exploring here. And I like this one because these are my favorite colors. So let's just see. So I'm just making marks that I learned to make through playing with these as I was demonstrating. So I actually ended up with a vocabulary of marks that I never had before. And it never occurred to me before that I would learn these things just by doing them every day. It should occur to me because that's sort of what an artist is supposed to do, is to work daily and learn more new things, just about. So you can see, you can get a fairly dynamic, interesting little piece just with learning one mark. I'm going to cover the mark. And I'm going to take another one. This time I'm going to, and this, when I wipe this off, it's ready to go again. It's clean enough, it is clean. It won't contaminate other colors if I happen to use it with other colors. And I'm looking for a smaller one. Oh, there we go. Or am I looking for the 1 inch? Nope. So this is the 1 inch. And I'm just going to do some kind of swirly marks like this. And just repeat over them. Repeat over them. And then I might do something like this. And just do it so fast, I'm not thinking about it. And the reason I'm not thinking about it is I've done a lot, so. And I end up with a different kind of design. Now, I could have started on a, not on a square block, but on just a blob of color. And then I would have ended up with a very small piece. Now I'm going to show you how nicely, this is a medium firm silicone, and all of the blades are the same. Except they're a little shorter. The 1 inch has got the same density, the same, here I am, thickness as the 3 inch, and it is the same length and same quality. So all the blades are the same. There's no no skimping on the product on the smaller tools. They're all very good quality. And one of the things I really like about these is the handle. It's a very firm, I believe it's a compressed plastic, and so it doesn't warp or splinter like wood, and it has a hole for hanging it, which is really, really great for when I'm working quickly and I want to get things out of the way. And when I have little hooks above my bench, which I don't have right now. So I'm going to now show how, I'm going to take out the 3-inch. So this is our biggest one. I know my hands are dirty, I'm seeing my hands. And it's, when you look at it, think of covering a board quickly with a paintbrush, or think of covering a support with gesso in preparation for a painting, or large areas with background color. That's what I'm going to demonstrate right now. That's not all it can do, but I'm going to demonstrate that just to show you, like say I wanted to scrape this off. This is a wonderful tool for that. And I haven't wetted or anything, so there will be stuff left behind, but the paint's going to be gone, so it's going to be right. And if I wipe it between each time, then I lose the paint. I don't usually do that if I'm doing my own, but see, so it's getting very, scraping it off. I usually work pretty fast, so. And if you wanted to get more off, what you could have done, if it was important to get it off, like if you wanted to remove a part of a painting, you could have sprayed it with water. And I do have water. This is water. So you could put a little bit of water on there, and you would have gotten more off. You could put water in a design. You should get it off in a design form maybe, but depending on the surface that you have underneath. But you can see, if you wanted to get more off, you could. There we go. So that's how you can use them for cleaning. Now I'm going to put a different color on top of it. Just because I always want to see what's going to happen. And so I'm going to put it's called Indian Yellow, and it is a professional grade artist's acrylic color. I work only in acrylics, but these products can be used with cold wax, with oils, as far as I know, most of the glues and things like that, they're wonderful for working with epoxy. It's just that I'm an acrylic painter, so most of the things I demonstrate will be about acrylic painting. And here I am, making good use of all my damp claws. So why am I sitting here? We're looking at this right now. I'm thinking I'm going to spread the yellow over. It doesn't matter that there's blue on there. Oh, look at how green it gets. I was just kind of curious as to what color I would get. Pleasantly or unpleasantly surprised? I don't know. So this acrylic yellow, this Indian yellow is a transparent color. So you can see how beautiful when you pull a transparent color just gently over something that's got a bit of a design. It's almost like looking through a yellow window. But it's wonderful to work with these tools because you can learn so much quickly. Now I was going to demonstrate how even these big ones have very interesting mark making, but it doesn't work too well against a transparent yellow because the difference isn't that great. This is one of my favorite marks, is just to scrape through with a square. Okay, let's see. Let's put something that, actually this color here is not transparent. So that's why we got, so I'll put a little bit more of that on and see. It's a very, that's a green. Here's the surface. So any marks we make are going to be like through to a greeny blue surface underneath. So I think that's not quite enough to make a difference. I'm forgive me, but I want to make it darker, so I'm adding, my God, that looks like pink. But it is a quinacridone red, but when I lay it on that green, it just looks so pink. And when it's floating out, I bet I didn't stir it enough yesterday. Yeah, that's what happened. Okay. So now we've got something that I've never seen. And so I'm just going to play with it like I would if I had never seen it before, because I'm always interested in finding out what's new. So there, I just pulled it out through there. Now I can... So some of these have too much liquid in because I hadn't actually shaken up that bottle before. So it's almost like a window into the lower area. And we'll go over this. Because what I really wanted to do is make a darker color. And one way of turning green dark, of course, is adding its opposite color. So it didn't actually turn it black, but it turned it to a nice dark, sort of reddy brown. So here we go. So marks. You can make long, thin marks. You can make big scrapey marks like that. And as I've shown you before, you can make marks like this. So these are, that's not my favorite color, I must say. And sometimes when I'm demonstrating this, right now I'm demonstrating on a butcher's freezer paper. And it's got a plastic side and it's got a thin paper side. So that means it'll work quite slickly, which is really nice for these tools. And when it dries, it looks just like, well, you saw the one that was being shown, but I'm going to show you another one. This is one that was done several months ago when we first getting started. So the paper hasn't stood up that well. We've been showing it a lot. And so it's not, certainly not archival. You can't keep it. So if you made an image like this that you really liked, you would want to digitize it, and then you could print it on anything you wanted. So, and I have done that. I just use Photoshop and make sure I scan all the pieces in at the same thing and push a button, and it comes out all put together. So, so that's working on butcher paper. If you want to, I just realized I wanted to put something on top of this and show you something. Should I scrape that off first? I think I'll scrape that off first. So just to show you, if you don't like that color, or if you think you might use it in something else, at this point, there's nothing wrong with that paint. And I could use it, I could put it in, nothing wrong with it about the color, but I'm just saying, as a paint, if you had to use it in your studio, if you needed just to put down a layer of paint, any color, you could use this. It would be a good acrylic paint, and that's what I'm doing right there. Getting it down my blouse, clearing it off. I'm just going to take it out and show you what a mess I've made here. Okay. Okay. But I'm also showing you how easy it is to clear off that stuff. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to show you some of the stuff we've done on Yupo paper. And Yupo paper is archival, and I will make some of those things. This morning I'm going to put a clean piece of paper on so I don't ruin my portfolio here. So I'm just to show you some of the things we've done on Yupo paper. And if you're not familiar with Yupo paper, it is archival. I've got a piece here. It's plastic. It's quite slick. It's not terribly expensive. This might be, depending on where you buy it, it would be between 30 cents and $1 or whatever. But it is archival. It'll last for years. And if you put something on there and you don't like it, you can actually wipe it off. Here's some of the other ones that I've done, we've shown these quite often on the show. So there's one. I've got it in a plastic to protect it because I start throwing these around when I'm painting, and guess what? They get pretty messy. So I'm just going to show you a few. I'm just going to randomly open this. So this is one I did, and this is called Flamingo Land. We live in the land of flamingos. And so this took about a minute and a half to do. This is another one. I don't even know which ones I'm opening. So given a piece of Yupo paper, you can actually make something that you can put on your wall if you want to. So there's Flamingo Land during the day, and I guess I've decided to call this one Nighttime in Flamingo Land. We have flamingos around us all the time, so if we see something pink and curved, that's what we think of. We live on the north coast of the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico, so right amongst the mangroves. I could walk a kilometer and I'd be in a mangrove swamp. Okay, so that just gives you an idea, and all of these were produced during this show. So that gives you an idea of what we're here about. How are we doing for time? Oh my goodness. I've only used 22 minutes. That's great. So some of the other things, I'm going to demonstrate using Yupo paper before I dirty this. I probably do it just on this paper. But I also want to show something else that we may do if we have time. We have done, this was done during the show. It's not my favorite one, but anyway, it doesn't always have to be my favorite one. That's the thing about paintings. Just because it's your favorite one doesn't mean somebody else might not like it even more than you do. And so these are poured paintings done on an 8 by 8 inch board. And that's one I did recently this week. It doesn't have an epoxy cover. This is one I did a couple of years ago. I know some people are very interested in poured paintings. Oops, let's get that in. I don't know, can you see it? Oh yeah, you can't see it. Oh, I should be looking on that screen. That's much better. So you can see there's very, very high resolution in these paintings, and they can be a lot of fun to make, and they are extremely easy to do. It's more learning a few mechanical tricks, and having a little bit of an understanding of color and how it might work, and also be a person willing to experiment. I made about 50 of these, and they're very pretty, or they can be some can be quite intense depending on what you do. I don't just leave the pour there. I pour the paint down and then I work into it. Like you can see this line, this green line here. All these lines that are going into the painting are what I do after the pour and before it dries. So that part is the part that's art to me. I'm just going to turn it around a bit, go out a bit, so you can see more of it. Okay. These can be, you can take a digital copy of these. That's why I make them 8 by 8. And then you can make them extremely large. There's no reason why you couldn't make this 8 meters by 8 meters and still have a very fine resolution, because the resolution is molecular. So that's why I find them interesting. They look small, but they can be made big. And when you see, can I show them this one here? Yeah. Okay. This one. Was the GoPro show this one too? Okay, so this one here is actually a very, it's an 8-inch piece of one of these poured paintings. And you can see the detail there, still in extreme detail, and it still can be enlarged more than that. And sometimes you just want a small portion of it. So we will go over poured paintings today, I hope. I think we have enough time. So I think I'll do the UPO demonstration.
You don't want to how I use?
Oh yeah, Preben's going to do a little short thing on, Preben is my husband and he's handling the cameras, and we're learning, we now have 3 cameras instead of just 2, and eventually we'll have one where you can see my face a little more. But he's going to change and put on a short thing for people to watch. Okay, so I have the UPO paper in front of me, and I believe it is in focus. Yes, it is. And I'm just going to start by dropping some paint on it, very much like the one you saw when you're coming in, except this is not, this is actually UPO paper. I tend to use darker colors simply because they show up better on the camera, but that's not always necessary. So I usually start with just a splot, a really not very thought about splot of, oops, let it go, paint on there. And I try to work very quickly so I don't analyze it too much or anything. I just start moving, and that's what I'm going to do here. Very similar to the ones, and all of those ones are made this way. Nothing was labored over, nothing took more than, what, 2 minutes, because you only got a little bit of time. And so I'm just saying, what can I do with this? So, and a lot of this will just be playing to figure out where I'm going. And I'm probably going to go over the edges, because when I first started doing this, I think I need more paint. When I first started doing this, I sort of painted a little blob in the middle and left the white edges. But that's like leaving some of the best part out. So here, what I'm going to do is what am I going to do? What do I do? Here's one of my toothy things. Toothy, there. See it? I've got some teeth cut out of this tool. And I have a collection of about 5 of these now. I might be, I don't really worry about perfection. I worry about what it looks like when I use them. So you can see this is kind of fun. And I'm going up here. Woo. And I'm going up here. Oh, yeah. I haven't done any like this before. So just having something like this, and then you can explore the fact that you've got lines, or maybe you want rectangles. Maybe you want to put stuff like that in there. So at some point I'm going to just start going, and I may be commenting. I'm usually don't get too upset. So, and I may add another color. I'm not sure yet. I really find these blue. Oh, in my picture, it's a blue-green, and it looks to me like your picture. Is it a blue, just blue? There's no green in it?
It's not a lot of green.
Okay, I'm going to put a little yellow in this, and we're going to see if we can green it up a bit for you. But the actual picture, as I'm looking at it, is very, very blue. Okay? So you see those spots of yellow? Let's see what happens to them. Okay, I'm going to use a big one. I'm just going to go like this. So I'm just playing with some marks I can make. Now what I'm seeing is where I have some yellow on there, I get different underlying marks, and it's still not turning green, it's going brown on my monitor, but it is green and blue on my tabletop. And I'm wondering, for people who are watching it at a distance, what color is it, if anybody's seeing it, because we don't really know. So what I see here is a blue-green, maybe oceany type of colors. Let's see if oh, that brightens it up a bit. But see all that brown stuff? That, I don't know. Do you see brown stuff on yours, Previn?
Yeah, there's something really weird going on with the color.
Yeah, okay. So we're just going to zip through this then.
Okay,
Is there a problem? I'm going to take some of this paint off. It's very blue. Okay, so I'm just going with this, playing with it, not worrying too much about it. That looks better. That's closer. What did you do?
switched the scene and something happened in the scene.
Oh, great. So what I see now, and I don't know about people who are watching it at home, I see the colors that are on my tabletop here, which is a lot of blue down here, and yellow up here, and a bit of yellow peeking through, and a lot of green surface. So let's just start doing this sort of junk. And when I'm doing this, I often go right off the edge, because I like to think of my painting as continuing. So it looks kind of messy now, doesn't it? So I want to add some, I could add some flow by doing that. Maybe some more. Maybe some more. So I like to start on the canvas and go off. That's why I'm doing that. And now that I've, oh, just there, I just want to do a bit more. And maybe there. Okay. And then, so I've got sort of a background of snakes or whatever. Snakes or spaghetti, I guess you could say. And then I can come in with something that's a different size, say this 2-inch. And I could put something more flat on the surface. Now, I can put a flat surface on it by laying it down and just pulling the paint like this. Or I could make a sort of more 3-dimensional mark. And I'm going to put it right over top of that because I don't care for it, and this might make it look more interesting, by actually going right down to the bottom. And see, that makes a more 3-dimensional mark because it adds, well, actually, the thing behind adds a shadow to it, so that's kind of interesting.
Can you check the focus?
The focus. Okay, I can check the focus. Yes, I can. Thank you.
Yeah, it's better.
Is it better? Okay. Okay. So what am I going to do next? Check the focus. Okay, now what do I do? So sometimes what I find is that this stuff looks more interesting if I do it one over top of the other. And this is sort of the way those ones that were, what do you call them? Flamingo ones, because they had those lovely curves in the neck, and they were that color of pink that made me think of flamingo. So I kind of think this mark there is a bit much. And so I'm going to start moving through and putting these kinds of marks on. So now I've got 3 layers of distinction going on here, and so I could even put a 4th layer, because that's my. So I could go up top, and I could go like this and go. And I don't know what. It's really hard to tell when you're looking at it like this, when it's sitting on the page, on the paper, what the information is that's going on in it. So I have to lift it up. And I think the information here is a little confused, so I'm just going to go like that. Oops. I don't know whether that was a good one or not. So this to me is When I look at this, I think it looks different than when I had it down there. And I have a problem with this area because it's very pale and there's no big gobs of green. So what does that tell me? Usually I've managed to, I don't usually analyze these things that much. So what I might do in a situation like this is just start over again. And with this type of paper, it's not going to wear out. I could do it 100 times and it will still be very good. Is that a green blob that went across there? Good. We'll put a yellow blob. So I did remove a bunch of the stuff before, and I'm just going to get started again here. So I've got a nice gooey surface, and oh, it's a lot of fun when you use metallics. So, but we're not using metallic. Oh, look at that. Oh, sorry. I really like when I put an under painting and I can go down to it after, but we'll just not do that today. Maybe we will. So now I've got so much paint on there and it is so wet that I can actually go right down to the bottom. And these are things you learn by doing them every day. So let's start with, let's make some of those blobby there. And if I had been true to my promise, I would have started them off the page. Oops. Oh yeah, and I forgot about the other ones. I actually did start off with this. So let's just step back. We can do that. So we have a background of things swirling other ways. So the kind of lower swirls, upper swirls. Okay. Now let's take this one and go. So as you can see, I am learning as I go, and that's the way I like to paint. Will I be painting this 2 years from now? Probably not. I'll be moved on to something else. But that's what I say about this. It's not easy. And so I've got, now I'm going to cut it through with a different mark. Now where's my big one? I think this is the biggest one I've got. And I might then just go like this. When I say I might and then I do it, I don't know. I don't know what that means. And I might not. So what this does for me when I look at something like this, it's not that, it's interesting right now, but I've just made it so I'm looking for flaws and things like that. When I look at it 2 days from now, the paint will dry a little bit darker because it is, let's say, oh, it's still too light up there. Let's turn it around, maybe it'll look different. Yeah, that's better. It could be the way the light is shining on it for me. But what I will see when I look at it is those are definitely behind, and that these are, so my eye will be looking at what's in front, what's in top. And that's why it's going to be interesting to me. And then, of course, I'm going to like or dislike it partly because of the colors. And this will never be my favorite simply because green is not my favorite color, but a lot of other people really love it. So this is the Yupo paper demonstration today. I'm just going to put it down in case I can get a... Actually, it takes a much better shot if I put it down against white later on the scanner. So I'm going to leave it there. And would you like to put on... something else for a minute while I'm getting ready for the next part, which is going to be the blue and gold.
Okay.
Okay. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Can you show a picture of my current student, and then we'll show a picture of her kitty.
Here you go.
Okay, so this is Marina, and that might not be the way she pronounced it. She speaks only Spanish. She lives next door, and this is a picture of one of her first paintings. And I just want to put up another picture of her painting, and I'll talk about it while I'm getting ready to do something, the next part of this, which should take us to the end of the show. I don't think we're going to be doing a poured painting today, because we don't. So that's Marina, and this is Marina's picture of a cat. And she's 6 years old, and I'm going to go in, because it's a very good picture. I do like to show it. Oops. Yes. So this is just to show how somebody who loves what they're doing in love. To me, this is good art because she's painted something that she loves, which is her cat and her new kitten, and she's captured the cuddliness of a kitten and the colors of this particular kitten, which were gray and white. It's a little tabby cat. The cat's on some grass, and it has all of the parts. But to me, the most interesting thing about it is that to me it's a sort of a peek into Marina's world and how she sees it. And that's what I like about art, and that's what I look for when I'm looking at art. I'm going to be bringing some other pictures that I found locally here from local artists who are just beginning, and some of them who are, have been going for a while. So I would say she's past beginner stage because she has managed to capture in her line and the movement and the feeling of how much fun a little kitten is. So that's Marina. Maybe future artist, that would be great. I sure enjoy having her as a neighbor. So I did all that and I didn't get anything ready. So here I am. I did get it all ready a minute ago.
All ingredients.
Pardon me? So I wasn't quite ready last time because I get so excited about Marina that I stop my getting ready and do that. So what I'm going to talk to you about briefly now, because we've only got 15 minutes left approximately, is about this paint. This is a picture I found, royalty-free picture I found on online, and I looked at that and I thought, I think we could probably do that with acrylic. And so through various, we've gone through various iterations. So that was the beginning. That was the first one we tried. So you see how nice theirs is, and ours is a little bit rough by comparison, and partly it is because we didn't have the right tools made. So the tools that we made, 2 tools for this, were we had these tools already, but I put two together and scraped through it. And you'll notice that the black areas are much bigger than the white area, the gold areas, and that's because of the size of the teeth. So these teeth aren't too bad, but it's sort of half and half. But really what you need is a tool that gives you more. Oh, there's the other one. Here it is. So these two I scraped through like this. Oh, and it wasn't easy. And it certainly wasn't as smooth and beautiful as this one. This is the original. And this is what we were attempting. So that was attempt one using these. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll make a bigger one. And so I made this one here. And I tried to make the black areas, my hands are really dirty, the black areas really tiny by cutting V's. So the part that actually hits the surface is tiny compared to the part where the gold is. And so the first one we got through that was this one, which was quite an improvement. As you can see, we got a lot more gold. We got it looking a lot better. See, that's the original. And I was pretty happy with this. What I wasn't happy about was these jerky lines here. Jerk, 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 jerk. I realized I had to relax, maybe breathe, and try and make nice, calm lines. So this wasn't the next one, but this was the one we tried. We're starting to get smoother lines. These are some practice ones we did. This is the one I think was the first one that had really smooth lines. This is one we did we added, these all have gold in them, by the way. Oh, I should move these. Can you see them? Can you move them out just a wee bit? Okay. So we're getting there, and we're still continuing the practice of, exploring new ways of doing this. And we've done a number. When I say a number, I say 5 or 6 like this, where we've actually put them on boards. See, solid. So you can get these and get a set of these now, or make a set if you want to. You buy the same size of boards. Yeah, you can make these, and they look very attractive, and they're very easy and simple to do. And today, I thought I would see what it would look like if we put used the same technique, used a smaller board, because that's what I had available, and had, instead of a black background, we would try a blue background. And I think I will do this with gold. So here's the gold. And I have, because we've been doing this so many times, I have the paint already mixed up. So we'll probably have time. But in the mixing of this paint, what I want to say is this is gold paint. Where is it? And you can see that it looks quite pasty compared to the way the colors turned out on our final result. Your final result, the gold is just brilliant. It's beautiful. And the reason is that this metallic paint is, I wouldn't say it was transparent, but it is little flecks of gold dust in a transparent medium. So, and the medium is quite milky in color when it's wet, and when it dries, it's crystal clear like glass. So when you put it on, it looks like milk, and then when it dries, about half an hour later, it's absolutely sparkly. So I thought this might be quite attractive with blue, if you had some reason to do a blue picture that you or wanted an accent color or something like that for your home. I'm not saying this is art, but it's some of the things I do so that when I get to a point in my picture, I'll have a lot of things at hand to choose from. I could say, oh, I remember doing something like that once, and that's exactly what I need here. And in this case, I think people seem to enjoy this one, so I'm going to use it, and we'll do it again. We've got some toothy things here. We've got this one, and you've got this one. Very even small teeth. We've got this one. Oh, those show up really nice. We got this one, quite regular teeth and a little bit wider. Now, we're probably not going to be able to do all of these on here, Whether or not we will do swirly swirls, I do not know. I do think I have one more, but sometimes I lose it because it's not made out of the best material. So we'll skip that one. So we're going to do something similar to this with gold on a blue background using these tools, and we may of course put down solid areas too. We'll see what happens. Have I got a plan? I just told you my plan. That's as far as it goes. I don't know which ones of these I'm going to use, and I don't know how it's going to turn out. But I'm quite excited to see what happens here, and I'm washing one of the brushes so I can. It does seem to help if I just put some on to begin with. Oops, there's another one of those brushes. So if you mix this stuff up and you've got a airproof, the other thing I didn't say is that I take this very dense paint, which has very little medium in it, and I add maybe 4 times the amount of medium, and it stretches the paint a lot further, and it gives it a little bit more firmness for when we're making these ridges. It's not a liquid. It's more like an icing or something like that. I don't know. You definitely can't eat it. It's acrylic paint. And you can mix it. You can mix the colors. Like I have some red stuff mixed up, but I'm not going to do that. I think the blue and the gold will look great, and if I do the red, I'll probably just not mix it up either. I do have a silver. It's not silver. It's stainless steel, which is really pretty. So let's just play. Oops. I got a little bit of blue paint on that, so I actually should. So I may have to put a bit more on, or I may not. I don't know right now. This is the first time I've used blue, and the contrast is not as great. That doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means the black and gold is very heavy contrast. So I want to keep as much of that paint on there as I can. I'm going to see what this looks like going on there. First of all, I'm going to smooth it off a little bit, because if I want to make new lines, then I want them to be the crisp ones, the new ones to be the crisp ones, not the ones. It depends on the painting I'm doing whether or not I want the earlier ones to show, because sometimes you want to put different types of lines on top of others. So we're just going to push the board up a bit. Thank you very much. Thank you. Oh, good. That's good. So this is a smaller board than I've been using, and I will say it is more difficult to pretend that you're just right on the same, you're going off into that everything is I always like to continue as though the board continues outside. It's behind a lens or an opening, and that this world extends beyond the paint. But it's a little harder when the board sits up an inch from the surface behind. So that's what I'm dealing with right now. So my lines are getting more curvy. This is a little bit like what I was just doing. The other thing we are going to start doing is we're going to start sort of a series of things like 5 steps to getting your first painting done if you're interested for a landscape or something like that. Sort of the things I used to teach when I was teaching at college or in night school sometimes. Sometimes painting is just about getting started. Now, I find this to be just a little bit small for this big brush, but that might be okay for the background. And I don't think I'm going to play with some other stuff. I'm going to take, this one's a little dirty, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to start playing with maybe going like this. I'm almost done. going to look at it. I think I'm done. I don't care for this little part up here, but I don't hate it. And it's got a very pretty sheen. And if I go any further, I'm not going to be very happy. So I'm going to stop here. And that's one of the things I've learned painting through the years, is that I'm going to if I stop early, I'm more likely to have a better painting than if I continue. And often if I fuss over it after, to fix a corner or something like that, it becomes the most noticeable thing on the painting and not the most interesting either. So I have learned to accept that it's not going to be perfect and stop when it's pretty good. So I think this one is pretty good. I do like the blue. It's a little nicer, not quite so hard. I like what happened here because it breaks up these swirly masses, which are, they're all right, but they're kind of boring after a while. And if you're walking through a room, if you have a light shining on this in the hallway and somebody walks by it, they will have a different view of it as they walk past it, because the light will cause it to look differently depending on where you are in the room. I had some huge orange and green ribbed paintings. I think my daughter has them, I'm not sure. But somebody has them, and they're like 3 feet by 2.5 feet tall, and the ribs stick out 1/4 inch, and it's blue on orange. And when you walk past it, the whole painting changes from blue to orange, and then back again as you're at the other angle. So it's kind of fun to have stuff like that does change as you look at it. So that would change as you look at it. And that's my first blue one. Actually, I think I like this one better than most of the other ones. I'm going to put it up here. And we're going to do what I usually, when I make these kind of paintings, it's the only ones where I say, oh, I've got to save the paint. You'll notice there's a big gob of paint on there. That can be used for another one. Because I'm not mixing colors, I'm just mixing sort of I can mix colors, but it would have to be a metallic color or transparent color. And not as so much that this is so expensive, but it's that it's very, very easy to save. And it's wonderful to have a little bit left over. If I want to do, like for example, I was thinking if I had gotten to do a poured painting today, I was actually thinking of adding, pouring in some of the gold colors. So that's one of the things I will be doing next time I do a poured painting, is I'll add some metallic colors to the cups, and we'll see what happens there. So I think it's time for me to say it's time to go. What do you think? So thank you for joining us today. You can find us here every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at noon Central to do demonstrations and answer your questions. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Friday.